Hi guys, welcome. ArcoLinux is the project where you can learn a lot, and today we're talking about ArcoLinux and ArcoLinux.org. So ArcoLinux is based on ArcoLinux. 90%, if not a little bit more, is all Arch, and the rest is coming from AOR and us. We want you to move into Linux gradually. So there are learning phases. You can follow a learning path or just skip ahead, but it will be easier if you just gradually learn and make things more and more difficult. And these are all the phases we have. This video is in phase 7. So we are teaching to the older students, so to speak, who have been longer in Linux and are not afraid to go into a dark screen, a TTY, and do the commands they need to do. So we've got here the ArcoLinux start with some articles to have a look at. At some point you need to decide, do I have an old computer or a new computer? Will I go for BIOS or UEFI? Phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Then you select any of the 25 desktops that we have. Well, that ArcoLinux has, right? But we keep on working. XFCE is not the XFCE from Arch. We have our own, as we call it, spices, our own configuration, how to make a beautiful left WM, how to make a beautiful DWM, etc., etc. So at this stage we are nowhere. At this stage we don't have anything. But look at the date, it's the 2nd of December 2022, which means, yes, by clockwork, we've got a new ISO. So the ISO is more or less released on the 1st of the month, but you know, the world is round. So will it be in the morning, will it be in the noon or in the evening, right? It depends. At some point in time, it will be just uploaded to all the servers and you can just click on it and download it. So depending where you live, you take the one close to you. I take normally one of Germany. One of those guys are probably going to be good. Let's take LeaseWeb. Let's see if that's available. We have here an ArcoLinux 2021, 12 December, first release, 850. Okay. 21 seconds and it's already there. So I'll have to be quick to set everything up. Super F7 VirtualBox is launched. I have got a template which is completely empty. I'm gonna make the ArcoLinux template. That's a good thing to do. Once everything is set and up to date and everything is working, what we do later on is we make another clone and then we install Mate. And the next time around we clone again and we install Plasma. And the next time around we clone again and we install, etc. You get the picture. So we'll just make one ready. Optical drive, choose a disk file. Where is it downloaded? It's downloaded in here, ArcoLinux. We have, yep, that's the one, 7 o'clock, exactly. Look at that. What I'll do as well, nope, not that one. What I'll do is go to, I have to make a choice, right? I have to decide what will I do, because in VirtualBox, and that's the best way to try this out, right? Before going on real metal on your computer system, try it out in VirtualBox, go through the motions, the images, see a few videos, and then say, oh, it's only that. It is not that difficult. But looking at the Arch Wiki, yes, I get it that sometimes people get lost, right? The wiki tells you what to do. Installation guide through the process installing ArcoLinux. So I've done the exact same thing, is looking at other people's work. So ArcoLinux start, how will we proceed with installation, etc., FAQ and all that, choose between this, between that. In one of these articles I told, look, I have one source, the source, right? That's the main reference, the installation guide. But there are always people explaining how to install ArcoLinux on YouTube, on other websites. So gather 2, 3, 4, 5 of these tutorials, go through them and mash them together until you get the steps that they take and decide if you want to take those exact steps or not. So this is what we're going to. We're not going to follow that one because we have our own, right? We have our own way of installing it. So from every month or every other month, I'll do an ArcoLinux installation. And in this particular machine, this is still a very new computer system. I don't have an ArcoLinux yet. So this is gonna be my image. I'll have available VirtualBox to test something out. So disabling secure boot is all for your real metal thing, right? Set boot mode to Uefi, yes, no. Enable US boot, a lot of mainboard or motherboard or settings or system settings, or these are all the names that are used, but you need to dive into that code of your laptop or your desktop and change some things to be able to install Linux. And it's all explained, right? If you go to ArcoLinux.com website, we have lots of videos about BIOS and Uefi. So lots of these screens, strange screens where we have to set some things, otherwise no fun for you, right? So that aside, we are on VirtualBox, so we couldn't care less, basically. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move my tutorial, which I'm gonna follow. So that's always a check, right? Phase 1, Uefi. I'm moving him to the second screen. There you go. Then I'm gonna go for this one. I have to make the decision, but as you have seen, I've made my decision. I'm gonna make a Uefi. So this is faking that I have a very new motherboard with Uefi. Click, that's on. I have 8 out of 32, so more than enough. And 16 CPUs, I give him 4, so, well, not CPUs, but you know. And he's going to go for OK, that's it. Remember always VBox SVGA, nothing else here, graphics controller, VBox SVGA, not ever VM. I'm ready, start. And then we get this not nice look. And if you have the not nice look, then it's Uefi. You have a beautiful ArcoLinux logo. It's not Uefi, all right? It's the BIOS. So off we go. We don't like the one with speech. Try it out from time at some point in time if you want to have a good laugh. It's always good. And then he reads everything to you. And say, oh my God, what did I start? Let's reboot. But hey, it's there for people who need it. Simple. All right, scrolling on one screen, typing on the other. This is, yeah, how do you say that in English? This is punishment. It's not punishment at school, but you know these things you have to write over and over and over 100 times, like Bart Simpson on the board. I will not. Well, we have to type all of it again. Now, first of all, I am on. Yeah, I want to have a Zerti. So one of the first challenges is probably going to know what do I need to type to get my keyboard in. So that's something you need to figure out. It's explained here on the website. There are more key maps to find. Find user, share key BD, key maps, type -F, type F, more stuff like that. You'll see it on the website ArcoLinuxD.com. This is Azerty. Check, yes, it's Azerty. So I only read the ones with the blue lines around it, the blue border, and I scroll down. And I think I scroll too much. No, still about connecting to internet, but we're in VirtualBox. Of course you're connected to the internet, so no need to test it. Update the system clock is the first thing we need to do. Time date set ntp true. Scroll. Partition the disk already. I have the feeling we forgot something. Let me scroll all the way up and go back, scanning for the blue borders. There is no way, I mean, you can't forget any of these things, right? You need to be really sure they've done everything. Okay, save disk. We have a hard disk that just came out of the store. If a hard disk is coming out of the store, this is what you get, right? Either you use GPT for Uefi or DOS for BIOS. If we made our choice, it's going to be EFI, so GPT. And then we'll scroll on and we'll see what we have here. There's a great tip, wipe FS and SG disk if you need it. I'm gonna scroll till the end so I have an overview of what I need to do. So I need to make a UEFI, not of 30.5 gigabyte, but one of 500 megabyte is more than enough. Gonna tell him that it needs to be type EFI system, and then we go on. Then they say Linux swap and then Linux file system. If you want to do it, I can do it the other way around. Doesn't really matter, but you have to switch it in your mind as well. All right, so it depends what you want to do. So Linux swap, how big is it? 10, they say there. 10 gigabytes. GB or G. G is enough, I guess. Okay, 10G. Linux file system. Well, in the picture it's a Linux swap, so type Linux swap and the rest, enter, enter. And that's the rest, that's the Linux file system. So, looking at the left and looking at the right, I now have 477 instead of 525, 10 gigabyte instead of 9.3, and 20.1 instead of 20.2. Really doesn't matter, the numbers, right? But the partitions matter. Okay, now we need to write everything. That means I have to go to the right here. Tell them, yes, please, write. And then, then we do a quit and do an ls block ID. Voila. So we cut our hard disk in some pieces, in the sense that we have an EFI and we have swap and we have root. You scroll down. We scroll down and we're here and we're gonna format things. So draw some lines on it, basically, like an LP. Saying from here to here is a file, from there to there is a folder, etc. So device SDA1 to make it possible that we can write. And then we're gonna make the swap on device SDA2. So if you switched it around, it would have been SDA3. Swap on device SDA2. Done that, and now we're gonna make the file system. So this is what we can make: BTRFS, SCRAMFS, BFS, XFAT, X2, X3, X4, SOFS, JFS, Minix, NTFS, so that's Windows, RiserFS, and XFS. All of these guys are okay. I've actually never done any of the other guys, so let's do an XFS just for the fun. Let's see if it works. Actually, device SDA3. Is there something more I should type? I don't know. But this is what we get then. Okay. So instead of ext4, what we normally take, just for the fun, Since I've never done it, what if, right? XFS. Scrolling on, mounting. Uefi. Let's mount device SDA3 inside a folder called MNT. If you're wondering where is this folder coming from, it does exist. It's there. MNT. So I've put a partition inside a folder. That's the strange thing that Linux can do. And now we're gonna make a directory mnt boot in there. Make the directory mnt boot EFI. And there it ends. Now we're gonna mount our device SDA1 inside the boot EFI. So a partition, it goes into a folder again, but a little bit deeper. mnt boot EFI. Scrolling. Mirrors, yeah, how about mirrors? Nano etc pacman.t mirror list. Italy wins, it seems. I find it a bit strange. Osbeck is one of the better, but he's nowhere to be seen. We'll see. Control X. So this is what Reflector, one of the applications, as he looked around in Belgium here and says, nah, Italian there, Archmirror Italy is going to be the fastest for you. Let's trust it. Then we're going to install the base stuff. Backstrap, MNT, base development, Linux firmware, Nano. So this is the future system. I'm installing stuff, not in the DVD or the RAM or whatever. It's actually going on the MNT, so my future system, right? The SDA3. That's where I'm writing these things. Sure. I believe we can do faster than that, but right? Almost there. And then we scroll down. We have to scroll anyway and read. At some point in time, we want to tell the future system how our partitions have been arranged, like EFI, the swap, and the root. How did we, where does it end, where does it begin, right? All that information is generated. Generate me fstab -u inside from mount and then inside mnt etc fstab. Go check, because if this fails, none of it will work. So we've got SDA3, which is XFS, which is root. We've got SDA1, which is VFAT, boot EFI, and we've got SDA2, which is swap. Fine. Control X, out. Scrolling. Shrooting. Remember the word arch-shroot. You can always fix an Arch Linux based system. You need to mount, go back in the way we do it now here, and shroot into it. So you can always undo what you did. So now I'm in my future system. I'm actually on SDA3. I'm sorry for my neighbors, maybe you hear the sound. He's a little bit deaf, I don't know why. Maybe the beats. Europe, Brussels, etc. Finally, if he's dead. Voila. So I'm living in Brussels. That's basically what I'm telling him. And the clock all of it needs to be typed out. Voila. Scrolling again. We're at the locale. Nano etc locale.gen. And then one step, 2, 3, 4. 4 is enough. Here he is, ENUS UTF-8. I want an English system so everybody understands the same language. So locale, let's generate locale. Done. Then we get a shorter alternative. I need to write that the language is en underscore us dot point UTF minus an 8. Yep, no typos allowed. Inside etc. Yeah, locale.com. Echo language is enus.unf. Alright, okay, okay. Echo key map equals BE minus Latin 1. I want my QWERTY, ASERTY, right? Not QWERTY. etc vconsole.conf. Key map, my B and my Latin, okay. Enter. Okay, scrolling. So choose your keyboard here. If you have German, French, or anything else, you just choose it here. Language and keyboard. And then the shorter alternative, ArcoLinux. Let's go and put that inside, inside host name. Done. And then the nano, this is always typing quite a bit, but it's okay. Remember to use the tab, localhost, tab, localhost, Linux, yeah, local domain, and then ArcoLinux, using the same name everywhere, and we save. Super, Control X, yes, that's how we save. And this is where we go our own way. We install the network manager, which is a great tool, and it's immediately installed on our future system. Not only is it installed, we enable it. So it's going to be there, it's going to be working, we're going to have internet. But type it with a capital N, capital M for mother, enabled. Don't see 3 lines, you made a typo. Root password, yes please. Password for root is a very complex password. And then we are scrolling again. Bootloader. Without bootloader, no fun. Backman minus S. Grub. EFI. Boot manager. Okay. Installed. Grub install. Target equals x86 underscore 64 dash EFI. Typos. Grub install. Target x score 64 EFI. That's why it's interesting to have 2 screens next to each other. Immediately check everything is okay. And where is the EFI? Here it is. Boot. That's where the directory is. Enter. No error reported. Cool. And then grub. Make me the configuration, please. minus output will go to boot grub.cfg. That's something we have as well. Scrolling. We're not going to do all that. Only do diff if you need to, not part of the standard installation. For here, it's not needed. Rebooting, exit is the first thing I need to do, and unmount everything. Everything should be unmounted, but you type umount. Very strange. Why not say unmount, right? Makes it more difficult. Reboot, and if you did if you had no issues and grub is there and all that, yes, you need to end up voila there. That's where your grub is. You log in to the system, root, password you gave it, and we're in. So now I'm on my second screen, next step on the page of arcolinuxd.com. So fine, then they say root and type in your password. AOR helpers will do that later. Multilib will do that later. Bash completion, that's important. Pacman -s, we hate not being able to use tap. Then we have to type like all the time. Bash completion, tap. Nobody's in there, well, nobody. The most important guy is in there, root. But Eric likes to play with the computer, so -g, users, minus the groups. I'm gonna put Eric in audio group, video group, net work group, real group, storage group, and rfkill, that's for Bluetooth. Not sure if it's still necessary, but I keep typing it. Bin bash. I can't know it anyway because it's VirtualBox. Boom, Eric is in there. Password Eric, and Eric gets a nice beautiful password. Now I need to be able to do something, otherwise you'll see some strange message that you're not allowed to do this, and it's reported to the higher authorities and stuff like that. It's fun to read, but we need to be able to do sudo pacman -s, and that's what we're doing now. Editor, video, yeah, cool. And then we go to page down, and then we have here wheel. So the percentage wheel, all, yep, that's the one. Control X, yes please, up, that's saved. Then we go for an exit. Now there's Eric on board, and a sudo pacman -s is hopefully gonna work. Yes, voila. We're in control. Exit, Eric, done, scroll, next step. Third page, last page. Some explanations about, hey, do you want to keep in the dark, or do you want maybe something nice wallpaper or something? Maybe you should get the xorg server and the xorg apps and the xorg x in it, so we have some stuff. Enter, enter, enter. I'm not reading it. Default, all, boom, all installed. Scrolling down, the Linux kernel can handle many graphical cards, so try first out without any extra installation. So it's true. It's amazing what's already inside the Linux kernel, and then there's also the Linux LTS kernel and Linux Zen kernel, Linux Harden kernel. So if you're in trouble with later on, not in VirtualBox, no issue whatsoever, but on Real Metal, have a look what works already out of the box. Not working? Fine. ArchWiki NVIDIA, ArchWiki AMD. Search it, and you get pages with lots and lots and lots of explanations of what to do, when, and where, and how. So scrolling. Here they say, let's install LightDM. So let's maybe switch. Sudo pacman -s, why not Sddm? Voila, I'm going to install Sddm rather than LightDM. So on the tutorial it says lightym GTK greeter, lightym GTK greeter settings, but the story is always the same. Now it's just a file. I have not enabled anything. So sudo systemctl enable Sddm. Stop. If you want to type more, you can add service behind it, but he gets it. You want to mean service. Voila. Do not forget to enable lightym. Yes, we've enabled Sddm. And then choose your desktop. Is phase 4. This is where I would say stop, right? Make this your plaything. This is old themed and tweaked. The only thing we're missing is Mate. And then we clone it again. And then we say sudo pacman -s plasma. And then we clone it again and we say sudo pacman -s xfc4. xfc4 goodies. How do you know these things? Arch wiki xfc4, arch wiki mate, arch wiki plasma. They tell you how to install it. It's a package, a group package. So lots of packages come in. So for me, I'm good the way it is. I'd like to stop here, Control F, which is actually maybe a bit too soon. Let me show what happens if we reboot. So sudo reboot, okay, an alias that we use. Sudo reboot. This happens to your system now. We've done everything except something behind it, right? There is no session behind it. We told him, hey, enable be there Sddm. Well, Sddm is there. But behind it, there is nothing. You can have a desktop behind it, like tiling window managers, have an error in there. It logs you in and it throws you back. It means you made a mistake. Always assume you made a mistake. That gets you much farther in life, further in life. That's it, further. Yeah. So for me, that's good. I can always reach my system in VirtualBox like we do on Ctrl Alt F2, Ctrl Alt F3 on real metal. I'll press right Control F3 and there I am. And I log in and I can install lots of things, right? But not on this thing. Not on this thing. On this thing, I'm just gonna say clean